so tonight we got a super simple install from MST Performance. Small, but mighty. If you want a little noise increase for your car, this is the perfect thing to do. Not too expensive, about 460 bucks. It's worth it. If you want some noise for your car, with a little bit of performance, you get about 3 horsepower from it, 3 to 5 depending. Got a coupler. Another piece to your intake, just where your map sensor goes.
A beautiful filter.
Beautiful filter. This is where your noise is going to be coming from.
What else is in there?
Part of your heat shield. Don't worry about that trash later. If you're local, if you're in California and San Diego, you can pick it up at Euroclass Motorsports down in Miramar. Great dude. Steve, the owner, he's an awesome dude. If you need any other parts shipped in too, they're more than happy to get you what you need and give you awesome recommendations.
Drop kick it. What kind of tools are we needing for this install tonight?
A lot. You're going to need to bust out the whole toolbox. First, start with the flathead. You're going to need to pop off this first clip, of which I don't know how because I didn't pay attention. Just kidding. There should be a little clip detent right here. Mine's missing. There's a little detent push clip right here. Push down on that. Pull off your mass airflow sensor. Take off this clamp right here. It's loosener. Super soft rubber, so all you gotta do is just pull this away. Once that's out of the way, everything's seated in there by grommets. So all you have to do is just pull up.
That simple.
Literally that simple. The best part is that the heat shield's attached to there. Don't gotta take anything extra off. Here's your turbski. Catless J-pipe. Downpipe, sorry. I'm used to having a WRX. That's where all your fun noises come from. Once you're catless, you'll never go back. I'll promise you that. And then take this bad Larry off. You're gonna need your old trusty flathead once again. There's a clip. Not a clip. It's kind of like a, I don't even know what to call these, but break it off. You're just gonna shove your flathead in there. Be careful not to damage anything else, but we'll need a smaller flathead, so keep that in mind. Just gonna have to bend that, pry that off. All right, where's a different, really smaller flathead?
Get in there and do your work.
You need to come in here, put your old flathead, pop that in here. Take your smaller flathead. See the perma clip down here? You're gonna need to get in there to pop that off. You see, there's 2 little detents right here. One right here, one right there. Once those are disconnected, you'll be good to pull this off.
You almost got it. And remember, guys, you don't need to save this thing. This thing is gonna be junk once you put this intake on.
Yeah, they provide all new hardware.
Just like that. There we go.
You don't need this. Do that.
Easy peasy.
Easiest way I just found out how to do that is don't yank on it so hard. Just kind of push down, squeeze it, and pull. It'll pop right out. Heavy amount of oil in there. That's a BMW for you.
Looks like you need a catch can.
So you need an 8mm extension to make your life easier. And your coupler. You're gonna need to have your MST pointing up. And for simplistic terms, make sure that your 8mm is pointing that way so you can actually reach it. Make sure it's lined up just to make it easier for you. So I have your hose clamp on down here so you can connect it. Right here you're gonna have 2 hose clamps, one here, one connecting to your actual intake tube. You can drop it down. It's just on there perfect. Go ahead and push, make sure you got a nice good connection. Take your hose clamp, angle it back a little bit. Make sure your clamp is all the way down as well, both sides. You're gonna grab your 8mm, bring it down here. You're gonna go ahead and give her a couple spins. These don't need to be on too tight, folks. Give her a good tug. Make sure she's on there nice. It's not going anywhere. So next, when you take off your stock airbox, you're gonna need to make sure that your grommets are still in place. If they're not, just pop them off of your airbox. There's a little groove right here. You'll feel it. Just pop it in. It's easier if you just squeeze it and push. You're gonna grab your heat shield. It's gonna go to the left of this heat shield right here. Go ahead and drop it in. Should sit right here. And then your other side is gonna be sitting right here. And for this, you're going to need 2 washers, a bolt, and a nut. It's gonna go right here. You take your bolt and washer, drop that through. Take your washer, put that on the other side. You want to be careful holding this because dropping it down your intake would not be fun. Easier if you just hold that nut in place and get it hand snug so you don't have to stress about it falling down the hole. You don't want to strip these or have them too tight. Once it's snug, it's good. It's not going to go anywhere. Next.
About that little hole that's left in there.
That is a 13. Okay, you're going to need your 13 bolt for that. 2 washers. Washer on top. Washer on the bottom. Nut on the bottom. Drop it down with your grommet. Take your washer underneath and your nut. Same deal as the top. Hold your nut on the bottom and just get it hand tight because you do not want to drop these. Alright, so you take your 13, pop it on your nut right there. That's a 13 as well on top. If you don't have sockets, a Phillips works just fine. It is sitting on a rubber grommet, so you don't need to tighten it too much. Alright, that's perfect.
Alright, what do we got going on now?
You need to take off your mass airflow sensor next. That's a T20.
Are we using those same bolts to put them back in?
No. MST has so kindly provided you with new ones. And for your MAF sensor, you're going to want to drop it in. And these are only designed to go in one way. If it goes in wrong, it's not going to line up. It's going to wobble around. That's when you know you need to twist it around. Take your 3mm Allen, drop it in.
I'm just going to get in there and give it a crank till it strips out.
That's definitely exactly what you want to do, because then you know that it's not going to come out.
Give it a little crank till it
Just
strips
till
out.
it's snug.
Got it good.
That's all it needs.
Alright, what's next? So what's next is we're going to go ahead and take this hose clamp and we're going to put it in the exact same orientation as we did that hose clamp earlier, that Joey did.
And which way was that?
With the head of it facing this way so your flathead can go ahead and get back in there, or whatever you please to use, an 8mm on an extension or a flathead. Next, we're going to go ahead and pop that on there. And I will go ahead and just give it a little bit of a snug so it kind of stays right where it kind of needs to be. But you don't want to go too tight or else the silicone hose will not expand to allow the elbow in there. We go ahead and take this beautifully wrinkle powder coated elbow pipe and we're going to slip it in at an angle, kind of going into this way. You want to get it down enough to where you can turn it at about a 90 to a 45-ish. Be a little forceful through right. Bring it back out just a tad. So now after we got this pipe in, we got the hose clamp on. Remember, it's not tightened. I did in fact have to loosen it just a little bit more. It was in fact just a tad bit too tight for my liking to allow this thing to wiggle around and whatnot. So I want to get that down in there. I want to get it to a position where, unfortunately, it's visually a little bit weird fitting. If you could let me see that for a second. It's a little weird on the fitting side of how it wants to work, but you have some play and all that. So we, in theory, should be able to slip this past that and go from there. I want to let you know, if anyone does install this kit, these things are really oily from the factory. A little bit of brake cleaner inside the O-ring right there.
He hates that.
You farting? All right, so now that we got the pipe a little better positioned, it was kind of at an angle, just force it. Don't be afraid to move it.
It's silicone. You're not going to hurt it.
I'm going to go ahead and jam this bitch right on there.
I have been waiting a little bit to get this on there.
Should we do a sound clip first without the lid on it?
Yeah.
All right, I believe that's all it. It's got some flutter. Woo! Think we should go take a rip without the lid on it?
Definitely.
All right, let's get to it. All right, I'm currently being ditched on the side of the road. Obviously, you gotta do poles in Mexico, but Mexico is quite a bit of a drive, so the car gets a little bit hot. But we're supplied here with about 5 3mm Allen screws with lock washers and a washer under them. You can't get them off, so don't worry about losing the washers. But it looks like we only have 3 holes, so they may supply you extra because you know what? Guys who don't read instructions are the guys who lose shit.
Yep.
And those guys sometimes happen to be us. So we're gonna go ahead and pre-thread all 3 of these in there. Don't tighten them down, just have them in there a little bit just to get your screws in there. All right, so now we have the cover plate. Go ahead and finishing tightening up all 3 of those you got there. Remember, they're just little 3mm Allens, so they don't need to be nothing but, I mean, snug. Just grab the middle of it, give it a couple ugga-duggas. That's all it takes.
Yeah, one thing I did notice on this is there was no carb compliant sticker.
Good thing the car is in Mexico. All right. That goes ahead and completes it.
Close her up. She's done. You give it a thumbs up?
I give it a thumbs up. Definitely has some flutter. May need a retune.
I give it a thumbs up too. It sounds great.
Other than that though, the M340i has a nice intake system to it. There'll be more. Don't